If you don't understand the forces that just vaporized $9 trillion from the global markets, I'm telling you right now, your portfolio is the next victim.
Just look at this number, $9 trillion. That's not a typo. That's the amount of value that got wiped off the map. And the craziest part, it all vanished in just 6.5 hours.
You know, everyone loves to say the markets are resilient, right? That they can take a punch. But the reality we just witnessed? A single whisper of geopolitical trouble can start a multi-trillion-dollar avalanche overnight. This wasn't about economics, people. This was about raw, unfiltered fear. Stick with me because by the end of this report, you're going to have the exact critical price levels you absolutely have to watch to navigate what comes next.
So let's get into it. How did this bloodbath actually unfold? Section 1. Red across the board. And when I say red, I mean we're talking about a fire sale on a global scale. An unprecedented cross-asset liquidation where everything was on the chopping block.
I mean, just look at the sheer carnage here. Crypto got smoked, down almost 7%. But here's the real shocker. What about the so-called safe havens? Gold got absolutely hammered, down 8%. That's nearly $3 trillion gone in an hour. And silver? Even worse, dumped 12%. Literally nowhere was safe.
And in our world, in the crypto space, the damage was just immense. The total market cap took a nosedive from over $3 trillion all the way down to $2.84 trillion. But it's not just the number. We crashed below that massive psychological $3 trillion floor. That changes the entire game. The whole sentiment just flipped on a dime.
And look, I have to be direct here. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, you are missing the critical alerts. The algorithm is literally designed to hide this content from you next week. You'll be left in the dark. So click like, share, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button to stay on the right timeline and protect what you've built.
Okay, so we've covered what happened. Now let's get into the why. Section 2, the geopolitical catalysts. How did a few whispers of global tension ignite this inferno?
You have to understand how fast this all went down. This wasn't a slow bleed. It was a chain reaction, a domino effect over just 6.5 hours. First, boom, Trump announces a shocking 50% tariff on Canadian aircraft. Right away, trade war fears are back on the table. But then came the real trigger. Credible reports start surfacing that the USS Abraham Lincoln has gone dark, totally off radar, somewhere off the coast of Iran. The market didn't wait. It immediately priced in a potential military strike, and that's when the panic selling began. A mass flight from anything considered a risk asset.
And get this, while all this chaos is unfolding, the U.S. Senate actually cuts a deal to avoid a government shutdown. On any other day, that would have sent the market rallying, but it was a whisper in a hurricane. The geopolitical fear was so massive that good news was completely invisible. It didn't even matter. This brings us to a really important question. With this much fear sloshing around, which asset do you think takes the next biggest hit? I really want to know what you're thinking. Go vote in our community post right now. Let's get into the data and debate it.
All right, let's get to the actionable intelligence. This is what I promised you at the start. Section 3, critical support levels now. These are the price zones you need burned into your mind. You have to have them on your charts. But first, just so we're all on the same page, what do we mean by macro support? Look, this isn't just some random line on a chart. This is a major, historical price level that has stopped a freefall in the past. It's a psychological floor for the entire market. It's where the bulls decide to make their last stand. Understanding this concept is absolutely crucial for what comes next.
Okay, let's start with the king, Bitcoin. Right now, we are in a dogfight around the $82,000 level. That's the same support zone from back in March and April of 2025. Now, could we see a quick, nasty wick down to 78,200 to scare everyone out? Absolutely. But the real line in the sand, the macro support the entire world is watching, is $74,000. That is the critical line of defense. If we hold there, we could see a double bottom recovery, which would be incredibly bullish. But if 74K breaks, well, we are entering a whole new, much scarier phase of this correction.
So what does this mean for the alts? Let's take XRP as an example. It's hanging on for dear life, retesting its own lows from April 2025 at about $1.75. But here's the thing you have to remember. Its fate is completely tied to Bitcoin right now. If BTC loses that 74K support, you better believe XRP is heading for a much deeper correction. We'd be looking at that demand zone from November 2024, somewhere between $1.36 and $1.48. The takeaway is simple. All eyes on Bitcoin.
Listen, these levels can shift in a heartbeat. If you want these updates the second they happen, before we can even get a report like this out, you have to be in our private Telegram. For all our viewers in the US and anyone else who needs those instant alerts, get your phone out right now. Scan the QR code on the screen or hit the link in the description. Don't get caught flat-footed.
So let's just recap. We have Bitcoin's $74,000 lifeline in serious jeopardy. We have global tensions at a boiling point. And that brings us to the one final, frankly terrifying question. What happens when the institutional money, the really big money, what happens when they actually start to panic?
Because the next domino is about to fall. And we break down exactly what that institutional panic looks like in this next report. Click the card right here on your screen now.
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.